The analyst radio program. Hello. Let's talk. Okay, go ahead. Ask me a question or say something. I'm just doing the poll. I get about 20 people on the poll, screenshot it, and I post a screenshot on X. So you have some mental health issues. What specifically? I'm bipolar. So what do you have? Hello, whoever. I don't know what language that is. Make sure you do the poll. It's important. 343. Okay, so from either extreme isolation or being remote worker, I'm starting to have anxiety issues. I end up going to bed early at 5 p.m. and wake up at like with anxiety and help appreciate it. Okay. So from either extreme isolation or being remote worker, yeah, I'm starting to have anxiety issues. Um, well, I don't know if you could do this on the job, but live streaming is one way how I get around that. Journaling, you lean into the isolation by vomiting what makes you anxious, right, into words. And then I know, like for me, I take for granted how easily writing comes to me. But even if you could use 3 words to describe what's living rent free in your head, write it down on a piece of paper and then close the book and then save it for another day. Stay up. In terms of don't go to bed early, you're better up to go to bed like 11 o'clock and then wake up at 7. Like that's what I'm doing. I used to go to bed at 9 and wake up at 7, but something happened with my sleep where I can't sleep as much. The worst thing you could do is waking up in the middle of the night, because especially if you're a light sleeper like I've become. So try and stay up 11 o'clock, maybe even 12, if you, unless depends how fast you can fall asleep. For me, it can take up to an hour, so that's why I go to bed 10:30, 11, and then I'll wake up around 7 o'clock, and that's when I have to get ready, my kids ready, and get out the door. So just off the bat, that's my recommendation to you. Have you tried any of those things? Do you have anything else you can share? Um, please touch on the idea of how many people are being highly isolated, staying home, and have small circles of friends. Heading a lot about this on YouTube. Well, that's why I have the poll: Am I an abyssal anomaly? Right? We're all abyssal anomalies. That's that's the crux of it. Is that you ever heard of a main character syndrome? Well, my version of it is called abyssal anomaly, and I developed that term through the use of AI. Um, because with AI, the ultimate what's it called? The final frontier is intimacy. And with AI, you can create a critical intimacy beyond human bonds, right? So it's it's again we're further removed from the people around us. We're alone together. We're alone together, right? And we don't have the tolerance. We don't have the attention span to listen, to contribute. Um, I mean, I rely on weed to open up and be able to be more delightful around people. At least I feel that's what I achieve. You got to take an interest in people, man. You got to take an interest in people. You start off not give ick. You got to know how to not give ick. Um, Tip well. Be nice. Have simple when you order coffee, make sure it's a simple, not a complex order. Uh, be familiar, open up, right? And you build on that slowly but surely. It'll take time, like 6 months to a year, but start now, right? Before you know it, you'll have an aura about you. You'll run into people eventually in town. Like you want to linger in people's minds positively. You know, um, but I used to enjoy isolation. I used to enjoy it. I used to write for like 5 hours a day by myself, and that was my zen. To turn the point where it's just like it doesn't work anymore. That's what the isolation stops working, right? And that's when you need to break free of your domicile, go grab a coffee, right? That's what these places are for, right? Be around people, like even if you're on your phone, you're around people, you look like you're doing something, you know. If you don't know anyone that you can meet for a coffee or something like that, like I said, just know that in order to not get Vic, know that no one needs you. Even the people that like me, when they're in throes of the day to day, if I'm not there, they don't need me. And even when I'm there and I say hi, I don't linger. Um, I don't cause ick, right? You got to know how to not cause ick. If any, the only ick you give is negative ick. Okay. I don't know if you're still listening to this. Is this helping? 67%. That's great. Well, this is an interesting poll once again. Hope I get at least 20 votes. But thanks for the questions. It's nice to actually feel the question for a change and have people just like say hi and then fuck off, and then or you get libtards in the stream sometimes and they gaslight me about digital ID and shit like that. But I mean, if that's what it's gonna be, okay, good. The analyst radio program. That I could hope. Let's keep a flow going. Uh, I'm just waiting. I'm at my parents' house, visiting with my parents. My son's with me, and I'm waiting to head home. So I'm just chilling. I thought I'd do a live stream. Um, these fucking phones, man. I remember I grew up enough of my life to know we didn't need internet. Internet created more problems than it solves. AI creates more problems than it solves, right? But we learn to live with the convenience because we're unconcerned with what the consequence of that is, because technology finds ways to solve for those consequences by creating new ones that they're either aware of or will find out eventually, whether because you're hacked or you lose money or you lose your freedom, and it just compounds. Right after a while, you just see the pattern and say, "What the fuck, man? You can't even have a job without a phone now." I don't want a phone. I wish Apple would release a program to de-evolve technology to the point where we're off of smartphones. Smartphones are not the pinnacle of technology. Okay, they're the pinnacle of isolation. It's a cell. I want an offline computer, a cheap offline computer with an onboard AI, which I feed data, and I have it grow, and there's no passwords or nothing. It's just like an old computer. You turn it on, and it's there. Let's see. So the analyst radio program. Next question. I have noted over 25 years, very few people followed up with me, text me regularly. It's almost as if I was a ghost. Other people seem to have voluntary engagement from outsiders. Well, I'll tell you from because you're asking me. Uh, I guess it depends on what maybe you say. I say shit because I'm bipolar. I'm completely unfiltered, right? I got to thread the needle based on who I'm addressing. But if I'm coming from a place of fear and isolation, and without the lack of an authority to quell my fears, I'm going to say exactly what's on my mind. And I trust in my intelligence to keep myself out of trouble, but express what I think is occurring. And I think I could sympathize with you. A lot of people they don't reply to me, and I'm the one that ends up having to reach out a lot. You know, and it's just how it is. It's people don't need you. Like I said, people do not need you until they do, and that's kind of how you have to play with things. You know, but you can't wait on people, right? You gotta meet new people. Like I said, uh, the best thing you could do, start going to a local coffee shop. Big tips: say hello, get a establish a routine where it's like they know exactly what. When I walk into a store, they know what I'm going to order, right? So it's familiar. Uh, Create that sense of make their job easier, right? Make their job easier. Know what they're going to order. Simple order. Tip, smile, chuckle, move on, right? Know when to move on. It's crucial. You understand ick. I know everything there's to know about ick. Okay. Go check out my website, johnralphcheeto.com. Go to psychosis, scroll down there, go to my X, YouTube. I got lots of stuff. Check out my static content, whether that's live stream or the posted content when I gave a shit about videos. Uh, yeah, no, you can't wait on people, you know, because they got shit to deal with too. Everyone's an abyssal anomaly, right? For the people that say no, I'm not sure. I don't know what to call it, right? Normal, like, but the normal is relative to the majority, and is the majority correct? So for those that said no, um, you could be wrong, right? You may not know what an abyssal anomaly is, and for those that selected it, at least you're honest. I'm an abyssal anomaly. I used to think abyssal anomaly meant I was the only one, but no, we're all abyssal anomalies under God. You know. Oops, better turn this on. I don't know. I have to go pretty soon, about 5 minutes. So hopefully, maybe a couple more people will contribute to the poll, and then I'm going to hang up. If you haven't, uh, if you haven't contributed to the poll, please do so. It's very important. Trying to keep track of culture the way I know how, and this is good information. Tambayani Berto, yo. The analyst radio program. I'm fascinated with how women interact with each other. I once sat in a sandy beach and listened to women talk about toenail surgery for an hour. They were so interactive, the conversation flowed. Well, women are not sentient. That's your answer. Women are not sentient. Okay. They're driven by delusional emotion. Delusional emotion. Okay. They deny reality with delusion and conspiracy, but typically delusion. Um, so the depth in which influence the surface of their conversations are entirely emotion based. Um, unless they've experienced trauma, which they're free to discuss at length because they have a support system around them that almost in like a lesbian gay fashion where they huddle together, against the opposite sex, and they're hens clucking. They're designed to do that, right? The support system. right? Uh, Tambayanamara 2. What is the best goal in life? To surrender to Christ. That's the best goal. Everything else falls into place. Worst case, don't be an evangelist. I'm not an evangelist. God's going to give you the proof you need to surrender, but evangelizing that proof, know that proof is not faith, and you will be a false prophet if you preach that proof. So I learned my lesson. Thank God I never got famous or viral during those periods of time when I thought I could change the world. Uh, RRK5AK. How are you feeling? I'm okay. I'm not hot, had a good meal, stuff like that. Tembayania Berto 7156. What's your best goal in life? To raise good citizens, right? Outside of the surrender to Christ, is as a father, I want to raise my kids to be good citizens that contribute to society positively, objectively. The Analyst Radio program. Your answers are fantastic. I'm laughing. I love your TikTok. Hey, subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, 22. I got enough. Awesome. So follow me on X, but I got a lot of content on YouTube, tons of content, and a lot of takes like this. Um, so I appreciate the feedback, guys. Uh, I'm gonna go. I screenshotted this poll. I'm gonna post it on X. Same name, John Raftachito. Google me, John Raftachito. I have books, 3 books that I've published. Check this out. I have professional reviews for all 3 books, so check that out. You don't need to buy the book. Just read the reviews. I spent $700 a pop for these reviews, and they were worth the money. Right? I take myself seriously. Right? I can prove I exist because my books were published before AI was a thing. My last book was published in 2020, and holy fuck, is it prophetic? Prophetic. So it was worth the money. Over time, it's more and more worth the money as time wears on, right? A lot of upfront cost, but I own my content. And that's what you want to be as an artist, right? You want to own your content, not sign your life away for a nut that's gonna damn your soul if you believe in that shit. If you believe that a contract can hold your soul, if Satan can hold your soul, you can relinquish it with the belief that it belongs to him, but it never did. Right. So make sure you live your life surrendering to Christ. Pray every day, because one day God's going to touch you and change your life forever. And you may not like it. It may be a horrifying response, but know that uh, do not invest in material blip because it's chump change. Okay. We're being judged by the material life that has been scripted by God. And in those moments of perfection that are the scripted perfection that we tickle on those moments, like when our child is born or we get a promotion or things like that, know that God has supreme hindsight, so you can't surprise him. You cannot surprise God. Okay, you just cannot. So you know, I'm not an evangelist, so if you believe this, it's on you. Um, I'm not even going to evangelize my proof to my children, but it's there in case atheists, try and dig their hooks into them. They have no idea what they're into. I know everything. I need to know that I surrender to Christ, and that's all I got to do. Right. So, anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in.